Okay, so good morning, sir. Our task for today is to discuss the topic which is all about a classroom management and the classroom routines. So this episode is only focuses on the classroom structure and routines which is performed by teachers in class to provide a safe, friendly, non-threatening and caring environment. So, without further ado, let's start. Okay, so to start a discussion about our topic, let me first define what is classroom management. Okay, so let me read it. Okay, so classroom management, an early definition of classroom management is based on the behavior of teachers rather than that of the students and produces an environment conducive of learning. So another definition of classroom management constitutes the provision and procedure necessary to establish and maintain an environment in which instruction and learning can occur. So, this is by Duke 1979. So, magsilingali kita nga classroom management. It is actually based on the behavior of our teachers kung paano nila i-design, i-manage, or i-handle ang ila kaugaling nga classroom para sa ila kabataan. Okay, so, another, magsilingali kita classroom management, ginahimo ni sa aton or pamaagi ni sa aton mga teachers para ma-maintain ang instruction and ang learning sa mga kabataan. So, amon agali ang ginatawag nga classroom management. Okay, so, what is the importance of classroom management? So, nga agid nga importante ni naton nga hibaluon kag intindihon ang ginatawag nga classroom management. So, as a future educator, no, it is very advantage to us nga kinanaman naton ini nga hibaluon gid ang ginatawag nga classroom management for us nga makagpagka-idea na kita kung paano naton nga i-manage man ang aton nga future nga mga classrooms. Okay, so by fostering a disciplined learning environment that improves students' academic skills and competences as well as their social and emotional development, classroom management systems maximize student success. So, importante gali kayo ang classroom management because amo na siya gali ang ga-shape sa mga kabataan or magadugang pagid-boost ang ilang nga academic skills and then para man sa ilang nga social and emotional development. So, amo na gali ka importante nga aton gid nga i-implement ang classroom management inside our class. Okay? Okay, so after we define classroom management in its importance, let us now proceed to its principles. So, ang classroom management, may na siya gali 5 principles nga makabulig sa aton mga teachers kag sa aton man sa future educator kung paano naton i-handle kag i-design ang aton mga kaugaling nga mga classroom kag mga future class. So, let us now proceed to the principle number 1. Principle number 1. It says, take of yourself to take care of your student. So, to learn effectively, your students need a healthy you. So, get enough sleep, eat healthy foods, and take steps to attend to your own well-being. So, sa principle number 1, gina-explain diri nga very important gid nga halungan nato ng aton mga kagalingon para man sa aton mga kabataan. So, do not stress yourself and then kung wala man lang obrahon, tulog sang temprano and then maintain a healthy lifestyle. So, ang quote gidili sa first principle is self first before anything else. Kaugalingon muna bago ang iba't ibang mga gawain sa buhay. So, importante gid nga halungan naton ang aton mga kagalingon para kita mangin active man kag very mindful man sa pag discuss kag pag deals ng aton mga klase para sa aton mga kabataan. Amo na siya ka-importante ang aton nga principle number 1 sa classroom management. Okay, so let us now proceed to the principle number 2. Principle number 2. Focus on building relationships. So, this was the theme we hear the most. Building healthy student-teacher relationships is essential to a thriving classroom culture and even sets the stage for academic success. So, sa principle number 2 naman, gina-emphasize diri nga, very importante gid nga, aton nga, mag-build kita sang strong relationship sa aton mga estudyante. So, kinahanglan naton maging open sa ilang mga thoughts kag mga kung ano man ang ara sa ila kinahanglan naton nga i-accept gid very important gid nga ato na sila i-accept kag maging open kita sa ila. Also, sila man hindi mahuya sa aton mag-open up. Kay syempre, kung ga-build kita sa relationship sa aton mga estudyante, so, sunod na ang tanan-tanan. Everything will follow kung kita nga nag-build sang relationship sa aton mga estudyante in a good way. So, kinahanglan natin mag-accept kung ano sila, kung din sila halin, kung anong ila, kag para man, kita man para sa ila, ma-accept man kita kung ano kita as a teacher. So, vice versa lang na siya. So, sa principle number 2, building a relationship is very essential. So, amo gina siya gali ka-importante nga mag-build kita sa relasyon sa aton mga estudyante. Para man maging easygoing ang aton nga discussion during the class. Amo na siya sa principle number 2. Number 3, set rules, boundaries, and expectations. So, it says, students don't thrive amid chaos. They need some basic structure and consistency to feel safe and to focus. So, sa principle number 3, gina-explain naman dali kung paano kita as a teacher mag-set sang rules, boundaries, and expectations. So, as a teacher, it is very important na mag-set kita sang rules and regulations inside the classroom para malikawan ang ginatawag nga chaos. Okay? Amo na siya ka very importante ang rules and regulation inside the classroom. Okay, next, boundaries. Nga kailangan natin mag-set sing boundaries. So, hindi natin ma-deny nga may mga estudyante or mga kabataan nga kakahisa sa kapwa man nila estudyante or mga classmates. Like, mahamba sila, nga amo na siya lang na paborito ni ma'am, siya lang premium gina-story ni ma'am, siya lang premium natudluan ni ma'am. No, dapat hindi natin pagbabayaan nga mag-think ang aton mga estudyante sina. Dapat kinahanglan naton maging stable kag maging balance lang gid para sa tanan. So, kung ano kinahanglan sa isa i-address, kag ano kinahanglan sa isa i-address man naton kag para sa tanan, dapat i-address na gid ila mga kinahanglan, hindi lang gid nga dapat isa ang imo ginagaan sang too much attention para malikawan ang ginatawag nga bias. Okay? Amo na siya ka very important nga mag-set kita sang boundaries. Okay, next, expectations. So, kita nga mga teacher, kinahanglan naman natin mag-set sang expectation, but not to the extent nga taas-taas or tayong naging nga expectation, but kay too much expectation can kill you. Tuod gina siya ang ginatawag nga amo na nga sayings. Kay maset kita sa taas-taas or tayong nga expectation, tas hindi magaling ma-overcome sa aton mga bata, di ba? Down kadayon, useless. So, dapat mag-set kita sa aton nga mga expectations sa atong kabataan. Dapat sa level man sa ilang nga capability, no? Dapat kung ano ang ilang nga mga strength, ato na siya gamiton para sa pag-address or sa pag-get sa expectation para sa ila. Amo na siya ka-importante nga sa principle number 3, set rules, boundaries, and expectations. So, amo na siya ang ginahambal sa principle number 3. Okay? Proceed kita sa principle number 4. Take a strength-based approach. Okay, so it says, a quote, find ways to make your hardest kid your favorite kid. It is said by Karen Yunus-Sky. Okay, so according to this principle, a strength-based lens means never forgetting and look beneath the surface of the behavior, even when it's inconvenient. And don't forget to continue to work to deepen the connection, being mindful of the context and using language thoughtfully. So, sa principle number 4, gina-explain diri kung paano kita mangin strength-based approach. Okay, so, amo ni diri sa principle niya dapat mangita kita sa pamaagi nga maka-provide kita, diin kita maka-provide para sa mga kabataan, kung diin sila galaking, na dapat ato na sila ma-address kag mahatagan gid sang solusyon para man to make our hardest kid to be in our favorite kids. So, kung ano ang mga laking sa aton mga estudyante, aton ina i-address kag aton ina punan para man sila mangin productive kag mangin active nga mga estudyante. Amo na siya ang sa may principle number 4. Okay, proceed kita sa principle number 5. Involve parents and guardians. It says, never forget the every student is someone's child. Ini naman siya based kay Molly Francis. But according to this principle, it's important that parents are involved and know what's going on so they can support and reinforce at home. The benefits of pain communication find their way back to the classroom. So sa principle number 5, gina-explain naman diri nga kinahanglan naton i-involve ang mga parents or guardians ng aton mga estudyante or mga kabataan para man sila mangin aware sa mga happenings kag mga attitudes kag ginahimo sa ilang mga estudyante sa aton ni mga eskwelahan. Dapat aton sila i-inform kung diin ga lack, diin may problema, kag ano nang progress ng ilang kabataan para ini ma-monitor man nila kung may progress man ng ilang mga kabataan. So very important gigali nga mangin open kita kag mag-connect sa mga parents or guardians sa atong mga estudyante. Amo na siya ka-importante ang principle number 5. Okay? So, again, ano to gani liwat ang principle of our classroom management? First, take of yourself to take care of your student. Next, focus on building relationship. Next, set rules, boundaries, and expectation. Number 4, take a strength-based approach. And then last is involve parents and guardians. That is all about the principle of a classroom management. Okay, so tapos na kita sa principles ng classroom management. Now, let us proceed to its priorities. Kung ang classroom management may principle, may araman siya ginatawag nga priorities. Okay? So, to effectively manage classroom, teachers must prioritize building relationships, leveraging time, and designing behavioral standards. So, as a teacher, hindi lang gali sili nga matudlo kita, no? So, it is our duty and responsibility man gali nga mag-impart sa maayo nga pamatasan sa aton mga kabataan para man sa ilang nga future nga mga purposes sa life. Okay? So, the first priority of the classroom management is developing effective working relationship with your students. Okay, so it says, the most important component of classroom management is relationship. The relationship with the students start at the door by shaking their hands and greet them with a smile. So, sa first nga priority, gina-highlight diri ang term nga relationship. Again, kung paano kita mag-build sa relationship sa aton mga estudyante. Gasugod ina siya kung paano kita mag-greet sa ila sa matagal lang nga tanan sang good morning, good afternoon, or paano kita like maghatag or deal sa magpakita sa aton nga pag-respect sa ila as a student man. Like mag-good morning kita, ma-shake hand kita sa ila, with also a smile on our faces. Amo na siya sa gina-explain sa priority number 1. Okay, so proceed kita sa priority number 2. Okay, train your students on how learning takes place in your classroom. Okay, so everyone has an individual process of learning. And that if they follow guidance, they will be successful in learning. So, amo na siya ganit no sa priority number 2 gina-explain or gina-highlight naman diri kung dapat i-train naton ang aton mga estudyante kung paano sila on how them to become a better person. So, dapat mag-impart kita sa maayo nga pamatasan, maayo nga knowledge nga para makabulig sa ila kag makashape man sila sa ila as an individual person, no? So, amo na siya ang sa priority number 2. Okay, next, proceed kita sa priority number 3. It says, protect and leverage your time. Okay, so an effective classroom manager must be prepared with materials and know how to transition students from one activity to another without wasting time. So sa priority number 3, it is very important ang time management. Okay, the word that is highlighted in the priority number 3 is time management. We as a teacher, dapat magkanta kita sa aton class, dapat naka-organize man, no? Kag nakapasunod, gina siya, no? Dapat sa aton palang balay, amo na ganing purpose kung nga may lesson plan kita, para mabala natin kung paano natin ipasunod ang aton klase nga, wala kita gausik sang aton nga oras. Amo na siya ka-importante nga gina-explain ang sa may priority number 3, which is protect and leverage your time. Okay, so, proceed kita sa priority number 4. Number 4, anticipate your students' behavior in well-written lesson plans. It says, channeling student behaviors, interests, and attention into productive learning paths requires intuitive lesson planning. So, sa priority number 4, gina-explain din nga, we as a teacher should construct a lesson plan which is naka-align sa behaviors ng ating mga estudyante. So, dapat, we need first to identify their strengths and their weaknesses. Okay? For us nga, makabalo kita sang aton nga mga tinutuyo during sa aton class kag para makaproduce sang intuitive lesson planning. Amo na siya ang gina-explain sang priority number 4, which is the anticipate your students' behavior in well-written lesson plans. Okay, so next, the last priority is the establish behavioral standards. It says, these standards should promote learning as well as consequences that diminish or eliminate behaviors that impede learning. So, diri sa number 5 nga priority, gina-explain diri ang dapat kag insakto lang gid. Hindi kita mag-imply sa mga bagay-bagay, mga words nga mga hindi kita sure kag nga pwede nga hindi makamaayo sa atong mga estudyante. Dapat ang sakto-sakto lang gid ang dapat lang gid. Amo na din gina-explain sa priority number 5.
Classroom management technique. Specific technique used to manage classroom and facilitate learning can vary widely in terminology, purpose, and execution. The following representative example of classroom management technique are: first, entry routine is a technique in which teachers establish a consistent daily routine that begins as soon as students enter the classroom, preparing learning materials, making set assignment, passing in homework, or doing a brief physical warm-up activity that would all be example of entry routines. This technique can avoid or malikawan in disorder and squandered time that can characterize the beginning of the class period. Ang entry routine nga ginatawag isa ka teknikong diin ang mga teachers ginahimo gid nila sang taga-adlaw-adlaw ng ilang routine kung sa diin ang mga estudyante magasulod sa classroom o kon klase nga naka-ready na sila o kon natapos nila himo ang ilang mga assignment o kag bag-o si teacher mag-start sang iya klase may ara gid siya sing papukaw atensyon o kon nga ang isa ka estudyante maging masigla sa iyang klase o kon maganahan gid magpamati. Second are do now. Do now is a technique that is intended to get students settled, focused, productive, and prepared for instruction as quickly as possible. It means that the students has already settled o ko na-handle gid sa maayos ng isa ka teacher tungod sina ang mga estudyante maka-focus gid kag maging isa ka produktibo labi na gid madasig sila mag-response o kon magpamati kung ano man ang mga instructions o kon sugo sang ilang teachers. Third, tight transitions is a technique in which teachers establish transition routines that students learn and can execute quickly and repeatedly without much direction from a teacher. For example, a teacher might say reading time, and students will know that they are expected to stop that they are working on. Photo with their materials, get their books, and begin reading silently on their own. This technique helps students to maximize instructional time by reducing the disarray and delay that might accompany transitions between activities. Ang ginatawag nga tight transition, ang isa ka teacher maghatag gid sa magsiling sa abi nga siling estudyante nga it's reading time. Tapos sa mga estudyante tungod kay gasit gid si teacher sang iyang nga time para sa ila pagbasa ti ang mga estudyante na anad na gid nga kung si teacher sina maghambal dayon kung ano man ginahimo pa sang iyang mga estudyante pang nga iban nga librahon pag siling reading time ang iyang estudyante gapati gid kag gabasa gid ini sang ang insakto kag wala may ginahimo pa nga iban kundi magbasa na lang. It is sit signals. Is a technique in which students use non-verbal signal while seated to indicate that they need something such as new pencil, a restroom break, or help with a problem. This technique helps to establish expectation for appropriate communication and helps to minimize disruption during class. Ang ini nga technique sinyas lang si teacher, dayon ang mga estudyante nga magpati sang amon sina or mga ano pa malikawan ang mga ginatawag nga disruption classes. Fifth are props. Is the act of publicity, recognizing and praising students who have done something good, such as answering difficult questions or helping their peers. This technique is intended to establish a group culture in which learning accomplishment and positive actions are socially valued and rewarded. And also, as a teacher, you should praise o kung dayawon mo man ang imong nga estudyante, like, very good kay kasagad gid sa imo maghimo, and also they have a teamwork kag nagi this technique nagabuliganay gid ang estudyante para maka-answer sang mabudlay nga mga pamangkot ni teacher. Sixth are non-verbal intervention is when teacher establish eye contact or make gesture that lead students know they are off task, not paying attention or misbehaving. This technique helps teacher efficiently and silently manage students' behavior without disrupting a lessons. Like, nagaklase si teacher dayon ang mga estudyante ko no wala nagapamati, ginagamit niya lang ang iya nga pamaagi kung paano niya ma-handle or masaway ang iya nga estudyante, pamaagi sang like ga ano lang siya ga hand gesture o kon ano pamanda naga siya nga itsura kag nga ipakita iya sa estudyante nga nakita niya nga ang iya nga estudyante wala gid iniga pamati amo na ginatawag nga non-verbal intervention. 7 our positive group correction is a quick affirming verbal reminder that lets a group of students what they should be doing. Related techniques are anonymous individual correction, a verbal reminder that is directed at an anonymous student. Private individual correction, a reminder given to an individual student as discreetly as possible, and lightning quick public correction. A quick positive reminder that tells an individual students what to do instead of what not to do. 8. Do it again is used when students do not perform a basic task correctly and the teacher asks them to do it again the correct way. This technique establishes and reinforces consistent expectation for quality work. And as a teacher, it helps students to work again sang iya nga ginhimo nga sala nga pamaagi nga mga assignment o kon project si teacher gaha naghatag liwat sang second chance o kon nga ginlagayan niya estudyante kag tudloan nga miliwaton ini ang iya nga ginhimo kag ihimuon niya ini sa sakto nga pamaagi. Structure. There are 4 under structure. First are time management. There are 3 categories of time educators are concerned with, namely allocated time or opportunity to learn, time on task, and academic learning time. Feldman, 2003. Allocated time is generally state mandated and tied to standard where certain subjects are taught within a specific allocated time of the day. Time on task refers to the time when students are actively engaged in learning, which often suffer alongside vacations, and the end of the school year allocated time and time on task both refer to quantification of time. Whereas the final category refers to quality of time, academic learning time is where students are actually learning at their own level. Second, climate. School climate is a term that has been used for over 100 years in relation to the environment that has the most impact on academic learning and success. School climate refers to the quality and character of school life, and is based on patterns of students, parents, and school personnel experience of school life, and reflect norms, goals, values, interpersonal relationships, teaching and learning practices, and organizational structure. Third, learning activities. According to Cangelosi 2014, students' engagement and on task behaviors depend on how well the momentum is maintained and how smoothly teachers transitions from one activity to another. Learning activities have several parts: planning, examples, sequencing, practice, and assessment. The following factors should be considered when planning for activities: balance of activities, tempo, and pace, children's attention span, and at what times they are most alert, availability for extra adults in the room. Other things going on such as intervention pull-out programs and the fact that longer play equates to an increase in play behaviors. And last, teaching content. Effective teaching practices include classroom management routines that focus on organization of the classroom environment, developing student accountability, maintaining good students' behavior, conducting instructions, and maintaining momentum in getting off to a good start. Teaching contents refers to the teacher centered in being an effective learning to them and also on how they handle their room. As a teacher, you should organize your classroom properly. That can give a good feedback to your students' learning. Like kung paano ang isa ka estudyante maging aktibo sa klase kay tungod kung nami man ang classroom o kung ang sulod sang room ni teacher kag maganahan ini ang estudyante mati kag maging aktibo sa iyang klase kag kung diin si teacher nagahatag sa kag nagatudlo kung paano maging maayo nga estudyante kung paano niya matudloan sang payo nga pamatasan ang iyang estudyante kag syempre ma-maintain ang momentum to getting to a good to start.
This time, I am going to tackle about classroom routines. First, let us define what is classroom routines. Classroom routines, it is a rehearsed response to an instruction given by the teacher. Classroom routines and procedures are introduced to ensure that children know what is expected of them and allow them to do certain things on their own. Routines are an essential part of each classroom for every situation. Established routines in the classroom are often called procedure and are exact movements of the students takes in reaching the desired outcome. It is cited according to Kapikazi 2009. Also, routines are the backbone of daily classroom life. It facilitates teaching, and learning routines don't just make the life of the teacher easier. They save valuable classroom time. And also, classroom routines has an importance. Classroom routines can increase students' confidence and comfort levels since learners know what is expected of them in different situations. As set routines are especially helpful when working with young learners that need extra support in regulating their behavior. One of the main reasons to have a classroom routines is to create a secure and predictable learning environment. There are 3 steps in introducing classroom routines. First, when introducing any new classroom routines, make sure and spend some time explaining the routine clearly. Example, you may want to model what routine looks like to help your class remember what is expected. After introducing new routines, spend some time with your class rehearsing and practicing these routines and procedures. Remember to praise your class when they carrying out these routines correctly. And if your class hasn't quite gotten the hang of a certain routine, for example, lining up for a lunch quietly, don't be afraid to ask your kids to practice the routine a few times in a row until they get it right. Let me give you an example of classroom routines and procedure. First, handing in assignment, then attendance, then lunch or break times, of course, homework, also visiting school library, beginning of the day and at the end of the day. Generally speaking, classroom management is the key to learning. Routines are the foundation of classroom management. Students require structure in their lives. Routines provide that in all of their life from the day they awake until the time they go to bed. Routines in the school and in the classroom provide the environment for learning to take place. The paper is divided into three sections: structure, rules or routine, and monitoring maintaining behavior.